listen up. If you're in the process of building an old truck, then you're going to want to pay attention. When it comes time to build a truck, and specifically we're talking about an older truck here, there's a few unique things that you need to consider when you compare it to a newer, younger truck. But how do you know what's going to be good to go and what you maybe might need to replace? What brands of parts are good? How the hell do you get frozen torsion keys out of a Silverado? Great news, I'm Dustin with Custom Offsets. You guys can follow me on Instagram at dusty.co, and today we're going over a topic that I know just a little teeny tiny itty bitty bit too well, as I honest to God just went through all of this on my own. That's right, today we're jumping headfirst into a video and going over what the best way to freshen up your truck is when you're building an older truck. Let's get it. If this is your first time seeing one of our videos, then welcome. Thanks for hanging out. It's a pretty cool place here. We started this channel way back in 2013 so that we could have a place to share ideas, show you guys all the cool truck stuff that we get to do every day, and help answer any questions that you guys had for us. With that being said, if you're new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all the awesome truck content that we get to do pretty much on the daily. If you're not new here, welcome back. Thanks for swinging by and watching the video. Speaking of that, by the way, enough out of me, let's actually get into the video here. Now, before we get too far into this, I want to toss out a little caveat here. Most of the things that I'm going to talk about today are specific to IFS trucks or independent front suspension. Now, that's not to say that you can't refresh a solid axle truck, but IFS trucks are just what I seem to know best because, well, I own one. I'd like to say that I'm sorry about that, but really the only thing that I'm sorry for is my wallet, and we'll get into that later. In terms of solid axle trucks, generally speaking, you won't see nearly the issues that you might with an older independent front suspension truck. Probably the biggest thing you're going to see with a solid axle truck is this neat little problem called leaf spring sag. Now, if you're not familiar with leaf spring sag, it's where one of your leaf springs is more worn out than the other one. This causes the vehicle to sag, or essentially lean to one side versus the other. Typically, this happens on the driver's side because there's usually someone in the truck when it's driving. Regardless, saggy leaf springs are a pretty easy fix. Usually you can remedy this by simply adding a leaf via, get this, an add a leaf system. Typically this is going to give you enough lift to help level the truck back out, keep your truck looking fresh for the gram. Switching gears here, what do we actually mean by rebuilding your truck? I mean, it's pretty simple, honestly. See, when the truck comes off the factory line, it's shiny and it's new and all the suspension components are tight and they're exactly where they should be. Life is pretty good. The problem is that as you drive your truck, you began to put wear on the parts. Now, this could be a slow roll or it could be a pretty aggressive wear cycle if you live somewhere like New Jersey. Rough roads equals more wear. That's just how it goes. Additionally, because I know that you guys are just like me, you can't leave anything stock. And while it looks really cool, this means that one of the first mods, if not the first mods that we're gonna do, is slap a thick old boy set of 14 wides on our trucks. It looks great and you can flex on the gram. However, the stock suspension is likely less than thrilled here. I mean, larger wheels and tires add additional rolling resistance and put additional stress on things like ball joints and tie rod ends and all sorts of other front end parts. You add in rough roads, years of miles of wear, and maybe a bit of rust if you're north of the snow belt like we are here in Wisconsin, and you have a recipe for a less than stellar ride. Good news though, it's all fixable. When looking to rebuild and refresh your truck, one of the first things I always recommend is starting in the front end. Again, we're talking specifically for you IFS guys here. The front end is prone to accelerated wear with wider wheels and tires, and ultimately is going to affect the ride quality quite significantly. Here's the Achilles heel of all this though, right? If you're taking an IFS truck apart, it's a whole lot easier to take the rest of it apart as well. For example, if you're already replacing the upper and lower ball joints, it's a great time to replace the wheel bearings because you've already got the whole knuckle assembly off. On top of that, anytime you're tearing into the front end, chances are you're going to need an alignment, which is going to set you back somewhere around 150 bucks or so. At least it's pretty average around here. For all of those reasons, when we tore apart my LBZ, we decided to replace pretty much everything. We're talking upper ball joints, lower ball joints, upper control arms, wheel bearings, tie rod ends, pitman arm, idler arm, center link, literally everything in the front end of that truck. And sure, it set me back some cash, but at the same time, we now know that the entire front end of that truck is built to hold up to any abuse that we might throw at it. But what brands of front end parts are good? How do you know it's going to hold up to the abuse that you're going to put your truck through? Boosted launch guys, I'm looking at you here, all that spooling up and then dropping the skinny pedal and letting it eat. Trust me, I know, it's fun, but it's awful hard on Chevy front end components. For the LBZ build, we went with kryptonite parts for pretty much the entire front end. We love them for a lot of reasons here at Custom Offsets, including the fact that their products are absolutely beefy, but more importantly, all their stuff comes with a lifetime warranty. Josh and the rest of the guys over there do a fantastic job, and they make some of the best products for the IFS trucks on the market. Plus, they already know that you're gonna slap some 14 or 16 wides on it, so it's not like you're using their front end parts for anything that they weren't built for. Best part about kryptonite is that we carry the entire lineup over at customoffsets.com, so you know where you can find them if you need them. Just click the link down there. It's great. Another great thing to look at when it comes to rebuilding and refreshing your truck is shocks. Shock absorbers, or shocks for short, are those cool little tube looking things that sit inside of all four wheel wells. Shocks essentially work by taking out the movement of your suspension and converting that into heat energy, which is then dissipated into the air. Basically, a shock consists of a tube and a piston. And as your truck travels over the road, the weight of the truck compresses and extends the little piston into and out of the tube. Inside the tube, there's these neat little holes called orifices that the piston is actually pushing hydraulic oil through. Because you can only push so much fluid through the orifices, it causes the piston to slow down and ultimately is smoothing out the ride of the truck. Now, over time, these orifices can wear, causing the shocks to ride less smoothly, or in some really extreme cases, to not buffer that suspension travel at all. That's where you see the trucks that are just like bouncing up and down off the old suspension travel. To combat this, you can simply swap out your shocks. Companies like Bilstein, Fox, and even King make some fantastic shocks that ride well and will really help smooth out the ride on your truck. Plus, they're worth at least like 5 clout points on the gram. Ask Lawson, he'll tell you. Perhaps the most overlooked but also most impactful thing that you can do when it comes to rebuilding your truck is replacing your bushings. See, automotive manufacturers use bushings in places like body mounts or around some suspension parts as a way to smooth out the connection and make it less metal on metal, grinding, and ultimately saving some wear. This works great while the truck is new, right? Because the bushings are also new, but over time this rubbery plastic material will break down as it heats and cools, and the UV rays break it down because the sun just hates plastics, and that's just how it works. This is why one of the best things you can do for your truck is to go through and replace every single one of those bushings. Now, not only will you have additional protection on the components that these bushings are actually mounted to, but chances are your truck's gonna ride quite a bit better as well, because you're not rolling around on these old, junky, cracked plastic hard bushings, or in some cases, even broken bushings. We've seen that. It happens. Well, there you have it, guys. There's just a few things that you should be looking at if you're looking to refresh your truck build. Did we miss something on the list here? Let us know down in the comment section below. And as always, be sure to like the video, share it with a friend. With that one, we'll see you guys on the next one.